Welcome back to the Rich Life Diaries podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you the 3 stupid money mistakes I made early in business. So let's get into it. Welcome to Rich Life Diaries, the podcast where we talk real strategies for creating abundance, building a business you love, and designing a life that actually feels good. If you're done playing small and ready to create your dream life, you're in the right place. Long time ago when I started my business, so over 13 years ago when I started Clickstart Digital, I made some really silly financial mistakes, and I want to share these with you so if you're starting a business, you don't make the same mistakes that I did. The first mistake was, it's kind of, I guess, 2 in 1 really. It's tax and accountant. When I started my business, I used an accountant that was one of my girlfriends was using this accountant, and I just thought, oh yeah, that's fine. I'll just use her as well. And look, not that was anything wrong with her. She just wasn't a small business accountant. So there was that. And anyway, long story short, a lot of her advice basically nearly ended in me becoming bankrupt. So I guess this is why this is my number 1 mistake is, get good tax advice and get a good accountant when you're starting a business. This is the most important thing because you're going to be, if you're like me, like I'm a creative person. I'm not a money person. So I'm not very good with numbers. I'm not good at managing money. I'm not good at, data and doing the numbers. Like that's not where my area of expertise lay in my own business. So that it's probably like a lot of business owners, you sort of avoid doing the stuff that you don't want to do and focus on the things that you do like doing. And, that was to my detriment, obviously, because I nearly become bankrupt several years into my business because of just mismanagement of not paying tax on time. This accountant basically gave me advice. I was complaining to her about how much tax I was paying. So she goes, oh, don't worry. I'll set this up and I'll put that over into a bucket company or whatever. Long story short, it ended up biting me in the ass big time. Because then later on when I found another accountant, long story, I found another accountant, moved over to that accountant. They basically looked at everything. They said, Sam, you've got a real problem here. She's gone and put all this money over here. Now you're getting this big Division 7A loan. You need to get this sorted. Long story short, I had to pay the tax office at that time nearly $400,000. So it nearly, at that time, because I was, however many years into my business, I wasn't sort of where I'm at now. Yeah, it nearly bankrupted me. I was looking at it going, fuck, I don't have that money. How am I going to pay this to the tax office? And it was because of this accountant not giving me the right advice. So just make sure if you are starting out in business or you are already in business, just get a really good accountant. If you don't know or you don't have one, just ask any successful business owners that you have in your circle of recommendations because this is really important because they can make or break you. As I said, I was this close. Luckily, I sorted it all out and I was fine. But it was a scary time and it's a lot of money. And, it sucks being a business owner because, and when you're making a lot of money, you're obviously paying a shit ton of tax. Like I feel like I give away half of everything I make to the tax office. It hurts. It feels like someone's digging a knife into your heart. Trust me. So I've been even thinking about moving to Dubai or somewhere else because I'm just like, I am so sick of this. Like the ATO, they just literally rape you of money when you're a business owner. It sucks. But anyway. That's life, isn't it? You got to pay taxes. But that's my advice. Pay your taxes on time. Don't keep putting them in payment plans and get a good accountant and make sure everything's all up to date and make sure the accountant is giving you good financial advice because you really need it when you're a business owner. Have you ever wanted to live life on your terms? You can have financial and time freedom with your own e-commerce store. My business, Clickstart Digital, helps people just like you set up an e-com store from scratch and launch it in 30 days. To find out more, visit us online, clickstartdigital.com.au. My second big mistake I made is not investing my money when I started making good money. So I was like a lot of new business owners. I was like, woohoo, I'm rich. I'm just going to go spend this. I'm going to go buy a Chanel handbag and I'm going to go on that yacht expensive trip holiday. I'm going to do all these. I'm going to buy a new Mercedes. And, I get it. We all get excited when we start making real money. But I'm 50 now. If I had to go back, if someone said to me, You could go back 20 years or 15 years or whatever. Would you do things differently? Yeah, 100% I would. 100%. Like, I don't think what I did was smart, and I see that now. I should have been investing the money earlier, and I wasn't. I was just spending it and having a good time, which is fine because I was enjoying the fruits of my labor. But in hindsight, even if I was putting away 10% of my profits and investing it wisely into Vanguard or something like that, I would be probably a lot better off now, or even property. Like, I actually there's a guy that I know, he sort of ran a similar business model to me. He got in and he was only doing it for about 5 years. His business was a bit different. He was doing Amazon, like selling courses on how to make money on Amazon. And he was around for about 5 years, but he made a lot of wealth in that time because he invested in commercial property. So the money that he was making from his business, he was actually investing it wisely. And now he's, retired. So, I compare myself to similar business owners, but, watching what they did. And I just think, that's definitely a big mistake I made, was not investing money sooner. I obviously invest money now, but I didn't when in the early days of my business, I was spending it. So it's okay to spend it and enjoy your money, but wait until, you've got more investments and things like that in place, would be my advice. And the third biggest mistake I made when I got started in my business is not treating the business as the business. Like, I was the business's money was my money. So obviously I look at things very differently now. There's two different entities. There's Clickstart Digital, there's the business, and then there's Samantha Hurst. But when I first started making money and I was making a lot of, lots of money was coming in, I was just treating it all as like grouped in together. Like, Clickstart's money is my money and I can spend it. And don't do that, because that will come back and bite you in the ass, and it bit me in the ass. So, the business is a different entity to you, and treat it that way. So keep the business's money separate. Otherwise you will literally have big Division 7A loans. You'll have a lot of problems later on down the track. And make sure that you're allocating money to pay your tax and all those kinds of things as well. That's definitely a lesson that I learned earlier on in my business, because as I said, when I got started, it was just all pulled in. I was like, oh yeah, I'm making all this money. And I wasn't paying myself a salary, and there was a whole heap of things. Whereas now everything's very separate. So, I have a salary and I'm over here, and then the business's money and everything is over here. Two very different entities. So make sure, if you are in business or you're going into business, that you go in with that mindset that, okay, the business's money is the business money and this is my money. And when you are starting out in business, make sure you reinvest any of profits back into your business, obviously. To get a business growing, you need, cash, you need marketing money to be basically reinvested to build the business and scale it quicker. So just make sure you keep those entities separate and reinvest your profits into the business early on to help scale it quicker. So guys, that's my 3 biggest money mistakes I made when I started my business. I hope you found this episode useful. Make sure you subscribe to Rich Life Diaries podcast, and I look forward to seeing you back here in a couple of weeks. See ya.